Okay, I believe that I have 9:30 exactly on my watch. We'll call this meeting to order, Young County Commissioners Court, Monday, April 28, 2014, 9:30 a.m. Make note that notice was given in the manner and time provided, and that all members of the court present, if you will please stand. I think Commissioner Pruitt will lead our invocation by faith.
Let's pray. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We ask that you still bless us with some rain. We ask that you still watch over the Martin family as they suffer through their loss. We ask that you lay your hands over Wise County and their loss. We ask that you guide and direct us and help us make the right decisions. These things we ask in your name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Item number 3, public comments, announcements, presentations. You have in your packet a notice from the Texas Department of State Health Services with regard to the back settlements, $5,074 received, and a rebate or reimbursement or remuneration or whatever you want to call that. Plan assessment for plan year 2015 from the TCDRS.
And Christina said, to look at this, and if y'all have any questions, this is something to start thinking about in budget time. That's what we want to do for next year. She can come talk to y'all if y'all want her at any time.
Is there any more comments?
Here's your name for Dwayne. Here's your thing for Dwayne. Thank
I know, I haven't communicated with him. Of course, I was gone Tuesday, but I haven't communicated with him.
I talked to them, they're still trying to nail down a date when they get done. He's supposed to be emailing the total cost, and I think he gave you an email, didn't he?
Yeah.
The cost of it.
He gave me an estimate, just on the removal of the tower and relocating it, putting it up. He had not got back with me on the cost, it was just this man. And it wasn't there this morning. Emails up this morning. Down on the regional figure, did I forward that email on forward it to Eric? They've delayed the upgrading of the regional finger system by a week, which is about a week. It'll be down here, Raytheon is going to come to Wichita Falls. The hub has been in Alpha Park, and they're going to move that hub to Wichita Falls. Make Alpha Park just to come over the same as the other 4-5 counties.
The city should, or my understanding on that, we can move it to their tower.
Jerry David indicated yes.
Yes.
I have not talked to David. I'm assuming it's going to be all right. I feel like it will.
I don't see a problem with it. I don't know. I think David, and Jerry David may have talked.
He indicated, Jerry indicated that he had talked to David. David said, well, sure.
Yeah, they should have it,
So,
They do have a new facility out there. The building, it's all concrete. To be able to put it in, there's plenty of room to house it in there. That facility does not have phone hookup, but according to Dwayne, we don't need one for the repair.
I don't believe so. I believe all the internet access and things like that with SO is back there.
Yeah. But that would be a good thing, and all this is in there, it will cost us.
Software upgrades and whatnot, that will take place out there. We lose 100 feet, a little more than 100 feet in elevation there. We'll see if it makes it get better.
Just kind of a trial and error.
Yeah.
Saves money.
Yeah.
When we get that moved. We're still waiting on him to get today.
Yeah, I'll try to make contact with Dwayne, poke him up just a little bit, so he can give us some numbers and some pages. Item number 4, consider county clerk minutes from the previous meeting, April 14th, 2014. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections? We were looking here on some of our motions, making it second. Did anybody find any?
I think it's pretty close. It wasn't the first time, but it is now. So moved on.
I'll second that.
We're always met in the middle of the night.
We have a motion by Commissioner Wiley, second by Commissioner Sykes to approve minutes as presented from April 14th. All in favor? Carried, none opposed. Okay, consider treasurer's financial report.
I presented you on March.
You got big bucks of brains?
No. Overall balance in the March was $8,673,236.79. And our current balance is a little less, $8,532,634.
Take note of the road and bridge, where we're at road and bridge. That's,
Well, that is, the one you have does not have it.
how nice is that we've got our deal, but still it's in better shape than it was in the past.
Yeah, I think I figured even after I take that last quarter out, there's still money in
More
there.
than enough to do our.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's, and the road bridge general current today is $614,000.
See, we've already increased about 200,000 from where we got our work, so we're still in good shape.
I'm working on criminal justice reports, I'm almost about to be finished, a couple pennies off, so they'll go to the state, and then someone tell you how much the county retained.
What percent are we on our tax collection? 50%?
It's pretty close, 98, 99.
So,
There's a motion, second by Commissioner Pruitt. Second by Commissioner Wiley. To approve the financial report as presented. All in favor? Aye. Carried. Another thing with regard to that, our finances, you get the email, I've been talking back and forth between Allen Board and Tex Dot, where we might have been off a little bit on our calculations for our match.
Judge, I have a question. You said we needed to open another bank account for that certain money, keep it separated.
No,
Oh, we
I
don't?
don't think so.
Oh.
I think we would if we were going to be collecting any of the taxing increase. I don't.
We'll just put it road bridge.
So,
no, the way we designed our zones, there's not taxing.
yeah, no, there's
Yeah.
in there. So I don't think so. I think as we spend the money, file the reimbursement, the invoices to them, get reimbursed, I think it can go right straight back in the road bridge account.
Okay.
Or
We might keep
what I think.
another line.
Where are we on our
Sure.
upgraded project list?
As far as I know, we've notified Eric what exactly it is we need to do. We'll get him after this meeting, get those done, so we'll have to your office this week.
Okay, very good. Item number 6, consider alternate budget amendments and or vouchers.
Let's do vouchers.
Okay,
Smaller revenues, total revenue $77,709.68, and of that, $48,349.92 is out of general. So not much out of precinct.
So moved on vouchers.
got a motion by Commissioner Wiley, second by Commissioner Rogers to approve vouchers payable as presented. All in favor? Carried. 5-0. Item number 8, County Appraisal District request refund, Barry Gilliam, $45.98 for a double assessment.
So moved. Second.
Who's gonna have them?
I'll go ahead.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear. Have a motion by Commissioner Wiley, a second by Commissioner Rogers, to approve, refund, as requested, $45.98. All in favor? Carried. 5 votes. Item number 9, consider energy quotes. Mr. Larry Sutton here, he's gonna give us some rundown on how much money it's like.
Hey Judge, how are you? Thank you very much, gentlemen. I've got some list here of energy quotes as of Friday afternoon. What you did? I didn't do
I should have picked that up. Larry, I believe you're strictly, are you strictly with Region 8?
Yes, yes. TIPS, obviously y'all know, is the interlocal purchasing system, and through TIPS, we have different people that do energy, similar to what the Board does through Texas Municipal League. So as of Friday afternoon, TDS Energy Services, who does all the work for TIPS, got bids in from all of these providers. You know, the providers from Affordable. Cavallo is not, Cavallo is the name of the company that does everything for the GLO. So that's the General Land Office there. And all of these quotes were taken, this is for y'all's annual load for here in Alden and all meters of 1,326,308 kilowatt hours. So that's what y'all used last year. Y'all are currently, and Cheryl can help me here, I think the rates are around in the 60s.
Yes.
Where he, you know, if you'll notice, going out as far as 60 months, the lowest rate was from MP2 Energy, 0.05687. Now let me explain these, like y'all, we had talked about
Are we not down in finance?
I don't think so. I'll go pull the TXU and the direct energy. I think it's. Pull it, make sure.
I was thinking that we had broken that down.
That direct might be, but.
One of them was lower than the other. But I was trying to go out as far as possible so that y'all could lock in as good a rate possible if you wanted to, or you can gamble and go as short as you want to go. The shorter the contract just means that, you know, right now, like on a 12-month contract, you're looking at a 5027, so you're looking at a 5-cent rate on a 12-month contract. But now none of these figures have the TDSP. Transportation distribution charges are set by the state of Texas. That is another.
You're talking about the weekend charge.
Yeah, well, they call it transportation. You have two different other charges that you get from everybody else. One is transportation and distribution is set by the state. But all other companies besides the GLO charge for public utility, it's a tax rate that they get that you do not have to pay through the GLO. That is 2.14% of the bill. The GLO, you don't get to pay taxes on. So if you take that off of the Cavallo bid, you're now into right at the 5.7 range on energy charges. Your TDSP charges, let me look it up here. I've got it right here on my cell phone. I didn't print that off because it's standard. I'll tell you exactly what it is.
TDSP charges is 0.02861. That's your charge for, that the state of Texas adds to your raw energy rate. 0.02861, so 2.861 cents. That's automatically added.
That's added to all of these,
Yes.
and these numbers are without that.
Those numbers are raw, what they call the raw energy charge. Okay, so I just want, and if you add, and that's what, Judge, when you were asking about the energy charge,
Well, now here's the TXU one, that is September.
okay, raw energy charge for the TXU at the time y'all did this one was 0.057650 before all the charges. And the direct energy for all of these stuff was 0.464. So when you average both of them together, you're slightly above 6 cents. All your energy charge. Commissioner Wiley asked me before court, he said, well, he was noticing on some news reports that, some energy went down as of Friday. Yes, they did. But the long-term forecast is for energy to go up. They're truly thinking that there's going to be some type of military action going on in the Ukraine. The moment that happens, we're going to see energy rates spike again. So my suggestion is for the court, if you want to do something now, we still have another couple of months, but I'm afraid we start gambling with time. If y'all want to do something, get it locked in as soon as possible. These rates were as of Friday afternoon. I have to get them refreshed today because every market opens at 10 a.m. in the morning and then they get them refreshed. That shouldn't be much difference at all from Friday, but there could be. Anytime we get a contract or need to do something for energy, you got to have it in before 2 o'clock or 4 o'clock that day, or because that locks those daily rates in. And so my suggestion is go as long as possible, as long as y'all feel that you should. If you want to gamble, you can go low, and you can get stuff pretty damn cheap if you see.
Where it says credit, it says yes, approved, not checked yes.
Some of them have a check credit, but I mean, that's not a big deal. Young County's got credit, that's not.
MP2,
That's what I was wondering.
Who is it? It's a spin-off of what used to be JEXA. The CEO of JEXA sold out when Florida Power and Light bought them. After 2 years, he started his own new company after his deal was over. So that's who that is. There's a whole lot of them out there, but they're all credited. They're all good credit ratings, and they're all decent. We only go after those. There are 39 retail electric providers right now in the state. I mean, it's amazing. And these are the only ones that bid God's level. Because we send it out to everybody.
6 of them?
Yeah.
And
TXU's in there too, and
I'm looking at that TXU on the 60-month plan, 05942.
yes, sir.
That's 200% higher than what we were about that
Yeah.
higher than what we have currently.
Yeah.
Well, does their contract, it doesn't run out until September?
Right.
TXU?
What we're going to do is we will stagger start on the contract so that all contracts end the same time this time. So one would start July or whatever, and then the other one would start after the meter read of September.
should we be looking at this like we do interest rates? I mean, interest rates are not likely to go down much further than what we're looking at now. Natural gas prices aren't likely to go down much further than what they are now. Would we be better off locking this production of energy through these low-cost gas contracts in over a longer period of time?
As long as I tell people always, budget assurity is so much better for you to lock in. Because you're gambling. I mean,
So you say go long term?
Go long term.
Long term?
go long term. Because if you go short term, you could get caught like we did, 5 years ago when natural gas was way high. Energy cost was, Abilene, out of Abilene, I saw some rates at 17 and 18 cents. And I've seen, and they've been as low as, the lowest I've ever gotten through, tip, we ever got a rate was last summer a year ago, I'm sorry. And we got 4.68.
I don't think we paid 11 or 12.
We were, whenever we first built the jail, and we were in a contract.
Oh, yeah, it's,
Nearly 11.
it's gonna be particularly just up to how far out y'all wanna go. But no one goes out past 60 months, period. There's just not one.
Well, I was looking at the 60-month on the MP2, that would give us an opportunity to kind of smooth out our budgeting
You will
situation.
know for the next 5
So we
years
know what it's gonna be.
what your budget will be.
And the only reason the cost would change would be our usage of electricity.
The only, yeah, if y'all had other buildings or whatever else, that would be the only difference.
We're a little more conservative with it.
Green Mountain Bill only charges a meter fee.
Yeah, none of the others charge me anything.
That's per meter, that's per meter.
Per meter. See, that's,
See that?
a lot of people don't look at that, and I tell people, watch those meter fees, because that's just another way for them to pass through some additional costs, right, to you. But there's no meter fee on the others.
Is that meter fee just one time or monthly meter? Monthly meter.
So that adds up pretty fast.
So how much, is there much difference in the TXU and the MP? Well, we've had such a good luck with TXU.
I have no problem going there, but if you're gonna go with TXU, I would also really highly recommend to go out after the Cavallo, because that is, you're gonna save, like I say, 2.14 cents percent on that particular deal, because that's the general land office.
The Cavallo
The Cavallo is the state of Texas General Land Office.
Ours would be less than this number here.
No, these other
We'll have that added.
Other are gonna have that 2.14% added to it for, different taxes that are attached to it.
So the MP2 would be 56.05687 plus 0.02861.
Well, plus 2.14%. It's 2.14%, not where,
Whereas the 0.597, they
right,
would no charge to it.
right. But the general land office, the thing that Judge Bullock and I have discussed at one time, the advantage of the general land office are dealing with a state agency that has a bond rating of AAA. It's part of the state. And the proceeds of there go to the permit school. So you're dealing with one end, so it's an interlocal agreement, basically, between the state.
The advantage that the state did with the billing process should still be good.
But the joint contract's still valid until September, are these numbers still good though?
Yeah, we lock them in now. You lock them in today, but nothing starts until after those contracts. You can't short a contract anymore. If y'all short a contract,
That would be good for,
well, they charge you a termination fee that's unbelievably steep. So, these are just, Mr. Rogers is just locking it in now before starting at the end of the contract.
But if we, for some reason, they decide to go with TXU, they can probably lock in at the new rates with that yet. They would, you'd still have to wait.
You have to wait for the contract. I mean, you're not gonna know if you wait until the day or a week before the contract ends. You're gambling for the rate that is there. You don't know.
But only is up in July.
The direct energy, yes, it's at the end of June, it's,
The one in your area is the end of June, the ones here, the end of September.
September.
Is that the first choice?
Direct energy.
Direct direction.
Yeah, and we only did it when we were out of contract, so I think we just did it for a year to get a cheaper.
That's about the same thing in the first choice though.
Yeah.
Straight, they're not changing. I think it's higher normally too, when you use Texas, New Mexico.
Yeah, it was a little bit higher on the rate.
Yeah. Yeah, but they, since they push it and bundle it together, they way really a little bit different rate.
But when you talk about your lowest you've ever seen it being in September, that's kind of unusual, isn't it? For a contract.
The two times that energy tends to be lower are mid-spring and mid-fall. The two highest times to ever book energy is the middle of summer and middle of winter. The rest of the time, natural gas tends to be lower. We don't know. Natural gas has been low for a long time. Once it never starts up, that's how electricity is predicated in the state of Texas. It's by thermal. They use the natural gas to provide.
Well, by the time you add the PDSP, all these other two levels, cheap.
When you add the 2.14%, that's a minimum number.
Yeah, well, that's way down there. It's like 1.2 cent.
So it works like that.
1.2 tenths of a percent.
Yeah.
It's 1.0012 cent. So it's a hundredth of a cent.
Yeah, it's a minimum.
But that's what you pay for to the Public Utility Commission. That's a tax that they collect.
It's kind of like the TNT bid, it's just 200 of a cent
Yes.
higher than the current.
Right.
You know, all these are not that far from that.
Yeah, and the key is if you are happy with TXU, man, they were the ones that had this to begin with forever. You know, they early before there was deregulation, and they're a good company. But it would take us, the process is, if y'all decide on one today, I will call into the office today. They will have a contract emailed to the judge or wherever y'all want it emailed to, and all it takes is an electronic signature, and it is in place and done on the contract when the time is up.
When's the next court date?
We're gonna talk about that.
Could be next week.
Yeah.
And I can refresh and wait until next week if you want. We just have to wait until, you know, I can only get prices so I can get in here by 9, for a 9:30 meeting on Monday. I have to get prices on Friday because I won't know the prices for a Monday morning until after 10 o'clock.
Then you can come back next week, they'd be higher, or they'd be lower.
Yeah, but they could be.
If you knew,
If I knew, I
you'd
would
be a rich man probably.
Yeah. But,
Natural gas is at 475 right now. And that's higher,
Place it going.
that's higher than it's been in a while. And it's maintained that high.
I'm pretty young on the bandwagon right now.
But I don't see anything right now spurring to stay up. Winter months are gone.
the only thing right now that can cause it to go up slightly, the storage for natural gas is still down because they pulled a lot out of the national storage for winter. So they got to replenish that. But Commissioner Wiley, you're right. I have no idea. You know, when you're dealing with commodities, you're dealing with commodities. So I can't. But for budget assurance, like Commissioner said, you know, I would say for sure, please go as long as you feel comfortable. Because that way you just lock in your budget. You know what it's going to be for all your energy costs.
If I calculate that one right, that would be, if you added that to 1.14%, KFC, that's gonna be 10607.
The last time we did one with TXU, it just a year.
I think so.
Yeah, we start at 11 and it goes out to 14.
Cavallo right now, your best bet. All the way around.
If you want to stay with the state agency and lock in, as I say, the biggest thing that they have going for them is their quadruple A bond rating. Where not all the other ones are rated that good.
Do you know what all counties they provide service to?
for providing that.
Right now, Cavallo or the General Land Office is dealing with 197 different school districts, and they're dealing with Sherman County. They're dealing with thinking of my river Dallas Fort Worth. Sherman, Gainesville, they've got that county.
Cook County.
Cook County.
I know the auditor there, I guess I don't see how they,
But I'm almost positive they went there. I know that Sherman did, or up there north of McKinney.
Ben, Terry, Val's,
No, none of those have. Cavallo, or the General Land Office, has been more after school districts than the county.
Val's school district.
There's 1,384 to be exact.
And they want
667.
97.
But I mean, they've never gone out and actively pursued. That's the biggest problem, I think, they've never had a sales tax. And Tips was picked to be able to handle a lot of their constituents.
What's the court's pleasure? Here.
We want to wait till the next meeting, or we want to give them that?
Well, I wouldn't, if you want to save it a lot, I don't expect that they would, prices would change very much. That they'd probably offer a little bit, one way or the other.
Could be one way or the other.
Got a couple of months on one contract, 4 months on another.
and just went into
Can
September.
you get a real price on the awning stuff? I think it's gonna be higher than this, isn't it?
No, this is a real price.
Exact number.
This is the exact number. They're bundling all of that. They're taking a loss probably up there to get this all in here. They're
But they
bundling
can
all
give
of
it,
it.
direct didn't give it.
Some of them did not give it, and I eliminated a whole lot of, we had all 37 in the whole spreadsheet. And went over here, just so many did not get it.
I guess the reason that you were with Direct instead of TXU, when we did the TXU, I think we were locked in with the Direct Energy bid then, and we were having, so, and then it went out last year, and so we just renewed it for just a year to get a lower rate, but now, if it goes out the end of June, we do something different.
The tax that we want does not have, it's .0012.
Yes, sir, it is 2.14%. It's a gross receipts tax that the state allows other utility firms to charge. And through the General Land Office, they do not do that.
NV2 is still the lowest rates.
It's still the lowest rate. If you want to go the lowest rate, it's the lowest.
You go on that tax.
The developer, the lowest, which would be Kabama.
NV2 is still the lowest.
Even with that extra.
Yeah, it was still the lowest by the. And every little bit, let me kind of explain. You're looking at probably over a year's time, difference from Cavallo and there. I did the calculation in my head. You're going to be looking at around $1,000 to $1,200 cheaper total bill per year. So you're over a 5-year period, you're probably looking at maybe $5,000 to $6,000 less.
Well, I would propose we do this, that we wait until next week and look at it again. And let the auditor talk to the Cook County auditor about the building with Cavallo. Because I know that auditor's office not necessarily interested in rates that much building.
Yeah.
They like the status quo of the building. That's the reason
We've
she's
been
probably
messed
stay
up
with
before this
TXU.
time.
Well, as I say, I know that I deal with them and not with Cavallo. I helped Erath County get theirs. Erath County went through, when we did theirs 2 years ago, and they locked in for 5 years. We went through, Green Mountain at the time. They have the lower rate. But,
That's who the city uses it.
but we had to, it was not easy at first getting all the billing correct. Because, we finally got it all to where it was done right.
That's probably what we're looking at.
Yeah.
I can also put it out there on the listserv and see who is with, or whoever y'all want me to, and see how.
Yeah, so check on that MP2.
See, I've never heard of B2.
Yeah, I say check
A
on
new one that's, they've they've done this for a year and a half.
See, that's the scary part.
I just hate to be sitting down at this table, making a financial decision, handing the spreadsheet, make a decision.
I understand, well, I didn't want to, I wanted to bring y'all the options and say, okay, because we talked about it 3 months ago.
Here all that. You said you stayed.
But here's the thing that I would beg of the court. Whoever, point one of you, once y'all make a decision, I mean, I can be here next Monday,
I don't know if
But-
they'll do it Monday, so.
but the biggest problem is being able to get a consensus of the court. If y'all do decide on doing something, I need y'all to appoint one person, whether it be Cheryl or the judge or somebody, to deciding the deal, because it's hard to catch all 5 of you at one time to get a deal signed, but it's a legal document.
Well, it might call for a posting if we did that, because all at one time. But the advantage of that is to say, when I did Erath counties, they have a purchasing agent there, and they appointed her to sign all the paperwork. But the reason I say that, we got the contract into her one afternoon at 2 o'clock, and she had it signed and sent back in. That's the only reason. So that city of Brown, you're talking about?
I think it's
Green
with
Mountain.
I believe they're in Green Mountain. They're talking to me right now about, because they're going through an audit on new lights and stuff. And, they're in the process, once they get that audit done, they want to revisit their energy costs too.
So they're paying a per meter charge in Green Mountain?
I don't know.
They are.
I can't tell you that because I did not negotiate.
Yeah, a lot of meters, I think it's 5 meters.
Yeah, that's just a suggestion on my part, later to the court.
And then we can all check on this MP2 too. and see.
I think it'd be a good idea to wait till the next meeting and then go
Thank you, gentlemen.
Okay. We'll get things, the prices on these,
I'll get all new spreadsheet because we'll get it out again. You never know, some people bid at different times. We'll offer it all out to the public again.
Like I said,
So,
my concern this time is per information on the building processes and changeovers.
You're gonna set it down.
Thanks, Larry.
okay, we have a motion by Mr. Sines, second by Holly, to table the issue of energy quotes for our next meeting. All in favor?
thank you for it.
Thank you for your work there.
Item number 10, elections administrator, Celeste Stover. I think the door looks pretty nice.
It does look real nice.
That was attractive from our courthouse.
No, we're not gonna get rid of the wood door, just add the,
Oh, yes, I am, okay.
that way people can know that I'm in there, but I don't hear all the hall noise from Judge Ross's office. It is very loud.
I heard it's pretty bad, but I mean, it's pretty rough.
It's hard to pay attention, it's hard, people come in and out right there with their cell phones and everything else, and it's real hard to do any work or be on the phone or anything else, so.
Okay.
There's a quote.
For the glass, like you're in.
I'm
Give her a gun.
Yeah. So you got one,
Yeah, I'm betting.
Even my husband. Yeah, there's a quote on there for N9875.
Thanks,
So bring it in with me.
Seems not.
Yeah, it looks about like that.
Yeah, we just like,
Yeah,
it'll look like everybody
compare it
else.
to glass, and we can get somebody to come paint maybe on the door if you want to, whatever you want to do.
I can pay.
I really don't have, I just looked in the courthouse, and there's really not very much money in that line. We could do it as a security issue and take it on the courthouse security, which there's,
She's probably like that.
sir,
So she'd probably like that.
well, she certainly doesn't have any of her. Let's just go there.
Really not anybody in my
But you don't call it that again.
$15,000.
Is it a security issue?
There's a lot of people come wandering in my office.
You want to see it coming, it's probably a mental issue.
She's going crazy from here on
That would be, on all the door glass along the, in the
Yeah.
offices anyway, so.
I mean, everybody.
Mine and Wayne are the only ones in the whole building, I think, that don't have.
You're stretching waist all the time.
Wayne's broom closet.
Yeah. So it's a commission improvement on the courthouse.
So,
Get the consistency of those.
Second.
let's take it down to the courthouse.
Okay, we've got a motion by Commissioner Wiley, second by Commissioner Burkett. For the installation of glass door at the election administrator's office for a cost of $1,098.75 to be taken out of the courthouse security. Is that correct? All in favor? You have your glass door.
I'll contact Miracle Glass and see if
We can wait till Wednesday next week.
Okay.
Since we've got early voting, sure,
Okay,
that would be handy.
next week,
Yeah.
Thursday of next week.
Wednesday, Thursday.
While you're here, we'll have Derek Hudson. He's with Hard Systems. And we're gonna talk elections equipment.
We tabled this last week, 2 weeks ago, so that Trent, wait, I get that money back, could come and do a demonstration of the actual equipment that we would be looking at. He came Wednesday of last week, did a really great job showing us the equipment, and hopefully those of you who weren't here got to watch the video that Eric was so kind as to make. You know, guys, I don't know, I'm hoping you guys all got this spreadsheet on your email. If you didn't, I've got it for copies. Okay,
I'm sure I did, but I didn't see it.
I've got plenty of copies. Alright, and I've been back and forth on the phone with Hart several times. One thing they called and asked after Ken left was, what else could they do to entice us to go ahead and lock in the rate now rather than waiting another however long for the equipment to deteriorate and us need to buy? And one thing I told them was a 3-year warranty would be much more advantageous for us than a 1 year. We sent in a JVC last week and it was out of warranty. It cost us an extra $100, I think, to fix it. That is going to hit the budgets a lot harder than I would like. So they came back. They said yes, they do a 3-year warranty, and that they would offer that to us. And on this spreadsheet, you can see that the difference between buying now and locking in this rate and buying later is $135,000. And that's a pretty good estimate, correct? This is not like any other piece of equipment, any other technology that the regular consumer is going to buy. Not everybody wants electric machines in their house for some reason. I think they're fun. So the price is not going to go down. Shirley and I were talking just after she got here. We've gotten a quote for the BOSS system, which would allow us to do our own ballot making. And Archer County bought it when it first came out, and they spent about $25,000-$30,000 on it. The quote I got 2 months ago for it was $65,000. It doesn't go down in price. Derek and I are here to answer any more questions you guys may have about any of this stuff.
How many of the machines? Yeah.
Right now, we have 22 control rooms, JVCs.
Okay.
We have 38 E-slates, which are the touches, and we have 17 plus 4 is 21 DOWs, which is the touch with access. And those are the disabled units that are a little shorter, a little smaller. I pulled the numbers down just a little bit because now that we're doing more joint elections and more consolidated precincts, we're not using quite as much equipment. In the event that we have a city and school that bumps up right next to a runoff, we can request a waiver from the state to be able to reset that equipment more quickly than the normal time would allow. So we can cut out a few pieces, not a ton, but a few. So that's why there's a little bit less on your quote here.
Well, I know this is technical equipment. We've had this for about 10 years.
Yes, sir.
Then we added to it, we added more units to our system about 5 years ago.
In 12.
Well, gosh.
Time slips by.
I mean, a lot of work.
And, but the technology changes rapidly, that it does get rather, I guess you'd say, without much value in it. And then it gets to where you can't hardly get it repaired when it does go down. They are offering a some refund on the value that we spent with them. And my personal opinion is that voting is one of the most important things that happens in a country, in a state, in a county. So, we knew whenever we went into the electronic part of voting and the American Vote Act came out and whatnot, it was going to cost money. But staying up with the times, I'm sure it's about time to replace these things.
And, we did just replace the tally and the servo machine. But with this, the servo machine would be bought back. That would go back to Hart. The tally machine would as well. It's getting harder and harder to use these machines. Our elderly voters who are, one of the demographics I look at before I look at new technology, they're coming in and punching my screens anyway. They're ready for touch screens. They're used to the ones in their pockets, so that little wheel kind of throws them some days.
Yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Who's your competition in this market?
There's really two primary providers in Texas. It's Hardner Civic and ES&S. And there's no other significant players in the state of Texas. There's really only 4 providers in the U.S. One of the challenges is the certification process. There's a federal certification process that you have to go through, and then there's a state level certification process as well. And so that's one of the challenges in supporting older equipment is you can't go in and change it, whereas with many pieces of technology, you can update the operating system. Well, we can't do that because if you do that, then you decertify your equipment. And so you get to a point where we can't change a circuit or a memory card or anything in these machines because they're really frozen in time and they're 10-year-old computers for all intents and purposes at this point.
So there's no more certification process farther than the longer it's done?
Yes, sir. So there's a certification process, but you can't recertify equipment that's that old because the certification standards have changed, so you literally can't go back and certify something that's that old.
And it's my understanding that this was certified,
That's about right.
to the O2 standard.
To the O2 standards, and so we're on a different standard now.
So how much longer are our machines good?
The system is a good system. The challenge is that it was manufactured probably 10 or 11 years ago. So you've got the age of, one of the challenges with, we don't think about using a a laptop or a cell phone or anything else for more than a few years. And so part of the challenge is that circuits wear out, screens wear out, power supplies are one of the things that wear out after about 10 years. And so, will it work another year? Probably. The question is, obviously, to Judge Bullock's point, you don't want to get to a point where an election where you see, okay, now I've got an increasing number of power supplies and a failure rate where you potentially put an election at risk. We'll continue to support you. We'll continue to provide the service for you on whatever you do. But it is a matter of risk. And one of the things that we think about in the election world is the election calendar. And even numbered years are difficult elections. And in 2014, you've got primaries, you've got cities and schools, and you've got midterms. And then in 2016, you've got a primary, and then you've got a presidential election. Those are not the years when you want to deploy new election technology. You want to do it in an odd numbered year like 2015. And so I think that's part of what is being considered here is you finish 2014 on your current equipment, and in 2015 you use that year to deploy new equipment and get it out there so that you're ready for the presidential. And it's not your first election in a 2016 election year with new equipment.
Do we have inoperable equipment? Do we have equipment that doesn't work?
Doesn't work, no. I think everything's been repaired and is ready for today's early voting through, as far as I can tell, through the primary. Usually after an election, we have to send in a couple of pieces to get repairs made. It's not been terribly tons of equipment going back, but there's not anything I can work on really in-house except to change out the pigtails and that kind of thing.
So we're being asked to commit to the purchase of a system that's yet to be certified.
Correct. So it's under certification process now, and so that's one of the things that it will be certified in the state early next year, and for use in those first elections in 2015.
I think what he's trying to do, probably is get his numbers down where he can get the order, she was on order.
Yes, sir.
Will be, get down on the numbers. I don't think there's probably any, there's time and work, but I wouldn't see any threat that the sheet would be certified.
What does our partners think?
In 2012, they come out with new dates of elections. So partnerships with the Commissioner's Court and our other entities, we went in 50-50 or the court county paid more money for these other entities to buy their own machines because we couldn't reset them. But now you're saying there's going to be a waiver available to reset these machines. So is this invoice here going to be enough equipment for these other entities too?
Yeah.
Or are they going to have to purchase any new equipment?
I don't feel like they're going to have to purchase any new on their own equipment like they did in 2012. Just before the cities and schools started their final pieces of getting the early voting ready, we got an email from the state that said, if you feel like you're not going to have enough equipment to make it through cities and schools and then turn around in 17 days and do a runoff, let us know. We can give you a waiver. You can go ahead and reset your equipment. There's a 10-day waiting period before I can start resetting equipment normally, but they were going to waive that down. I don't remember. They gave us a time period as to how long we would have to wait, but I don't feel like the partner entities would have to go out and buy their own equipment again like they did.
I think that's the big on this. This was for the addition of that equipment. The county provided 50% of the funds, and then provided the 50%.
Right.
Mr. Riley, you asked about our partners with schools here during the demonstration. They're not in the mood at the current time to participate in the purchase of new election equipment. I asked that question directly of them at that meeting.
I did invite everybody except I realized after the fact that I had forgotten the city of Graham. All the other entities, the hospitals, the schools, the cities, everything else, everybody was invited. We had both Olney school system and Graham school system here. Which my mom was the one with the Olney school system, so she and I visited afterwards. They're not in a position to want to buy pieces of equipment again either. But
Don't you let the city?
I have not talked to anybody from the city. Nobody responded, nobody came, so,
About the hospital.
so we there either. I've been out. They all got the same email inviting you guys to come to the demonstration. They were all on that list that I sent out. So, like I said, the only ones that I've actually heard anything from at all was the two schools themselves.
I apologize for not being there, but downtown, but I did watch it.
Yeah.
Video this morning.
So look at this as a approximately an $80,000 per year expenditure over the next 5 years.
That's correct. Or there are 3-year terms of about 122, it looks like.
What kind of a financing rate was that figured at? You know?
Commissioner, off the top of my head, I don't know, but I think there's also, we make no money on financing. We have a third-party financing organization that deals with state and local government, and I'd like to confirm this, but it's somewhere in the 2 to 3% range. It's a good rate, but I don't want to tell you specifically because I don't know off the top of my head. I can get that number for you. But we're happy to provide that financing. It's through a third party. It's really, literally, you're working directly with them. Or if there's an existing financing vehicle that you want to use, then we can facilitate that as well.
The systems like we have now are out there working.
Probably 50,000 or so units across the country. And I'm sorry.
And so I've talked to a company that we use for Capital, Government Capital, and we used them one time to finance our hardware for that data. And then we ended up financing for a while and paying it off. And I talked to him and they said if we start looking at financing, we might talk to them, or we could probably get somewhere in the neighborhood of, like I said, 22 or 3. So, I mean, if that's an option that y'all want to look at, something like that, you can look at some, making a yearly payment, kind of like we do on the motor graders and such.
So there's only 50,000 units? 50 in the United States, like ours? 50,000, about 50 to 60,000 in the U.S. They're like this.
You would
So
be
across-
amazed in the state of Texas who all still using paper ballots. Yeah, I mean, I was shocked when I went to some of those conferences and they were still talking, mostly paper ballots. I mean, I was floored.
You'd be surprised how many people ask me why we don't go back to paper ballots. You start talking about the cost of a building for voting machines.
But I tell you, if you look at, and it is, the challenge here is when you go to paper and then you're printing ballots every time, and you got a tremendous amount you've got to print more than enough ballots because you never know which ballot style is going to be available. And over a 5 or 6 year period, break evens, you're back over on the electronic side because it's going to last longer. You're not printing ballots, and that's the trade-off. Is if you buy a lot of paper, you have a lot of waste with paper.
How many mistakes are made with paper?
And then there is that. I mean, hand counting is, of course, we're not talking about going back to hand counting, but hand counting is consistently inaccurate. People think, oh, that's the panacea. It's unfortunately, it's not. You can give people a stack of 100 ballots, and they're going to count 3 different ways.
It takes a lot of time.
And it does take a lot of time, and everybody's used to getting results quickly. So it's,
What do you think, Sheriff?
Well, I think that it's something we ought to pursue. And as far as the other entities buying equipment, personally, I don't think they should be required to buy equipment because Lauren normally contracts with all of them to do the elections, and she has possession of all the equipment, and we are the county. So, but I think it would be, personally, we'd be making a mistake if we pass up this opportunity to get the buyback of the equipment and the 3-year warranty and the other thing, equipment's gonna do nothing but get more expensive. So if you do it now, you're gonna be kind of in on the ground floor, like we were when we purchased the equipment, and some of you guys supported me on that.
Got anything else?
How did you price this 3-year warranty at $18,000 when you don't know? The machine hadn't even certified on the rack yet?
We used, so we've been doing extended warranties on the equipment that you have for a long time. And so we used a similar factor in terms of the way we did it and assumed the failure rate, assumed fixed rates and those kind of things. But it's largely based upon our existing pricing for extended warranties on the equipment that you have today.
Okay, so the 3-year warranty is really kind of a 3-year service contract
It's a
rather than a warranty.
Well, we're warranting the equipment, but so there's more than just, it's warranty to come back, it's warranty for us to fix, repair, replace, whatever is required. But you have, in addition to that, you have ongoing service so that Lauren and anyone else can call us, any time of the day or at night, 365 days a year, and say, hey, I've got a question about this or whatever. That's not, you get that.
That's a service.
That's a service contract, right? So that's not this. This is really a matter of hardware and
Warranty deals with the quality of the equipment.
quality equipment or something breaks, anything like that, then that's what you get in that warranty.
How do you figure it's gonna go up? What it's gonna be? You saying the price is gonna go up, I don't believe you there. Because you're gonna be producing this older model, and the longer you go up, the older it gets. So I don't believe you there.
I'm not sure, I don't understand.
You're saying the price of that machine is gonna go up each year. How?
Well,
It's gonna be older and older and older.
but the difference is that it costs us many times more and more to produce the same machine. We can't take advantage of the price of memory and those kind of things going down, whereas typical, if we were manufacturing laptops, we get the benefit of all the reduced cost of silicon going down, memory going down. In these cases, we have to buy the same thing that we bought 3 years ago, the exact same part, which is not produced in many cases, or it costs us more to acquire it. And it's counterintuitive to other hardware because we're not producing consumer hardware. We literally say, okay, this is what we certified to with these specifications, and then I have to pay whatever market rate is on an ongoing basis for the next 12 to 15 years to produce that machine. And so as an example right now, if I wanted to go out and buy screens for what you have today, the actual screens of the E-Slate, they don't manufacture them anymore. So I've got to look at it and say, okay, I got to pay somebody to manufacture those exact screens and spin up a line, whereas if I go buy a brand new screen for that's similar to the tablet you have in front of you, I can buy that really inexpensively. But I've got to go pay somebody to build that exact specification so I can meet the certification standard. And that's unfortunately the nuance of the business that we live in because of the certification requirements that exist in the voting system space.
The efficiency and the savings of volume is initially on the initial.
We get a lot. We get the economies of scale early on. After that, now
Of course, research and development costs are early also.
research and development cost, the certification cost, and for us to certify a new piece of equipment is not to develop it, just to certify it is probably about $1 million. And so it's a significant process because you've got a third-party testing laboratory involved to test it. Then the federal government, and that's just at the federal level, and then you come to the state level. It's a much, depending on the state, but in the state of Texas, it's less of an involved process, but still it's a several-month process to go through the state level as well. And so we look at it and say that the market for our, and again, now that's an estimate. So you look at it and say, okay, so what will that price be at that point? We've estimated, we're not predicting what that price increase will be. We did some estimates on based on what we've done in the past. What we do know is that it will increase some, and we do know that we can buy back the used equipment now because our inventory, we think we can do something with it. We can either use it for parts, it has some value, but as more and more, you bought the current system early, and more counties are starting to talk about when are they going to replace that in the next 12 months. And so then those 50,000 units start coming back to us, then there's not a market for that equipment going forward like there is right now. And so that's one of the advantages of doing something now is that we can buy that back because there is some market for it at this point, whereas in a few months there probably will not be.
I have 2 questions for you.
Go ahead.
So the machines we got now, we bought them at whatever price
price was. So you're saying 3 years later, and that machine was higher than what it was when we bought it?
It would have gone up from the initial time and then probably leveled off.
It did go up.
But it got
Because
the-
we bought more equipment, it did go up.
Yeah, that's what Stacy was saying a minute ago, when the entities came back and bought more equipment in 2012, they paid much more than they did in '05 when we bought the initial ride.
It cost, when we bought those initially, I believe, the East Lake unit was $2,500, and the handicap unit, I think, was $3,500.
Or 3,000.
Maybe
I think.
4,000. Recall is what the cost was when we added. We bought all those, we bought some used.
Yes, we did. From Hanson.
I've been here, used to.
Yeah, it was 2012 when we bought things.
So how many other counties have jumped in on this?
So we've added customers on this product in Virginia, and then you'd be one of the first in Texas. We're at another county. In fact, this morning Ken is in another county doing the same thing. We did it here last week, and so and again, what drives it is the calendar of the election cycle prime time, and to think about 2015 and doing it in 2015 so that they don't end up having to buy it in the presidential. And most people are afraid to go to another presidential without replacing their equipment. And this isn't exclusive to our customers, because the Help America Vote Act, the judge referred to earlier, provided funding, and people after the debacle in Florida, everybody wanted to move to electronic, and so all that equipment is aging at about the same rate. And so this isn't something that's specific to Hart. People are just thinking, hey, the system that I have, regardless of who produces it, about 10 years old, and they're thinking about replacing it at this point.
And I guess it's not possible to just buy a little now, and little then.
You can't really blend systems, because you got one voter that says, hey, I voted on this, and I wish I voted on that. And the other thing is that you've got two election sets of results, and merging those together is not really possible.
You're hitting us at a bad time because of the problems that we're having right now in Young County because of certain.
And we talked about that.
It's really killing us, and it's going to hurt us to go ahead and hit the taxpayer with more tax right now on something.
And that's something that I've discussed with several people that I know, and looking at the savings now versus a year from now, if they look at it and say, that's a year and a half's worth of payments, that you just.
But do we need it right now?
I'm gonna
That's the
say,
whole problem.
let me put it this way. Do we need it right this second? No. But I don't want to get to a point where we have to buy it because something went down. Your iPhone dies in the middle of the night, you can get another one tomorrow, and it's still a good iPhone. If that election equipment goes out in the middle of early voting, nothing to back up, and it's going to cost him more to get it to us. It's going to cost me more to get it set up. It's going to cost a lot more if we wait.
What is this election equipment costing us budget-wise in the last 3 years?
I think we pulled those numbers, and they were somewhere in the $20,000 to $30,000 range
Per year?
per year.
Per year. So the $80,000, we're really talking about a $50,000 outlay for equipment.
Correct.
Over what we're paying on our old stuff versus the new stuff, which will be under warranty, which will have service contracts.
Correct.
And then your price basically after that goes back. Once you've paid it off, then it goes back to about what it was before.
I need to make some financial sense out of jumping into, again, necessarily the technical equipment for the cost we're talking about spending for our taxpayers in the environment that we're swimming in at the moment.
Right.
At present, we're doing legitimate elections for $25,000 worth of equipment. That's what I can't get out of my head. So, and that will probably go ahead and run this election coming up in November.
Yes, and.
It'll have to.
It still has to.
I feel like this is more of a budgetary
It is. This is.
item instead of today making a decision on that.
But if
I see what you're saying.
if we don't lock in this amount by June 30th, the warranty goes away, the price goes, back to what we started with a couple of weeks ago when I sent you the initial quote.
You're talking about the 455.
We could be looking at that, I guess.
That's an assumption on 4% increase, and that's charging out that 3-year warranty as a service contract. I understand your analogy about what it costs to repair those screens now that they're not producing parts for them. When in the insurance business, that happens often when you've got an older model of anything that has to be repaired. Sometimes it's best to just scrap it and buy new. And we're rapidly getting to a tipping point with our voting machines. But I would like to, really like to hear from my constituents. I'd like to make some calls and ask what they, get some input. Newspaper can help us in that regard too, to find out what people think about spending $350,000
Over 5 years.
over 5. And that's
And
why we need to.
that's a big thing that the voters need to understand.
We don't need to swallow this elephant one time,
Right.
one bite at a time.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, that's a fair point.
So we need to give them the net cost versus what we've got now. So,
Yeah, I think in terms of timing, Lauren's much closer to the current situation here in Young County. I think, as an election person, I probably wouldn't want you to go through 2016 with what you have now. And I think that's the question is just in terms of getting to a presidential, and all pressure of presidential, and you have an issue, and what kind of potential negative publicity you have. And then you look at it, and to your point, and I think if I understand your point, Mr. Rogers, it is a budgetary thing, but doing it now allows you to really say, okay, all you're doing today is today or whenever you do it, to your point, it doesn't have to be done necessarily today.
Would be commitment.
Right, would be saying, we're going to do it, and then we're going to budget for that in our next fiscal year, and following on from there. You're kind of,
Just like you were talking about with the energy.
yeah, not unlike the energy, you say, hey, look, I know that I'm going to go from $25,000 or $30,000 a year for the next, and I've got to increase that by $50,000 for the next 5 budget cycles. But I know what I've got, I know when I'm going to get new equipment, and you've got a plan, both fiscally a plan, and both that from an election standpoint, you know what you're locking into. You're not locking in to spend any money today, and other than commit to say, yeah, well, let's do that, and giving Lauren in her office the time to be able to do it.
If there was a commitment today, and for these machines to be put into use in 15, and it was a finance deal, what are we talking about our initial payment?
March, April,
March,
after the equipment is delivered.
So you take delivery, and then whatever term, that would really start the financing from that point on. And,
Well, we've got till June 30th to make this decision.
yes, sir.
December 1st will be better for me.
I'm sorry.
December 1st.
December the 1st of next year.
This year, wait till after the election.
Wait till after the election, see how our equipment comes out, see what our tax rate is gonna do for this year's budget.
It'd be good to try to fit this into our budget and see what it does.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to figure out too, and that's why I've been here, is if I need to put $80,000 in my budget line, then I need to know that.
We'd like to find $80,000 somewhere in our budget rather than in our tax rate.
Right, absolutely, so.
You asked a question about certification. It'll happen over really the December, January, and February timeframe. And then I think the challenge, so to your point, the challenge with us waiting is it helps us from a planning perspective. No question. Let's talk about what's in the interest of Park for a minute. The other thing is that it allows us to we're gonna do buybacks on a certain limited amount of equipment, because after that we won't have any use for it. We won't have any value. And so that's why we put the June 30th timeframe on it, because it's just, we kind of budgeted in our mind that we're transitioning from one product to another. We feel like that we can use either from the standpoint of parts or redeployment of used equipment, a certain amount, and then when we do that, then we won't buy any more back. It has been out there 10 years, and so getting some value for it, a 10-year-old system is certainly better, for the taxpayers than not being able to get something for it.
Once you're certified and goes into production, how long would it be before equipment would be available?
If we didn't know if it was a brand new order, it'd probably take us 16 weeks. That's the other thing is that this allows us to kind of say, okay, we're going to put this into our initial build, an initial inventory build, if you will. And so it helps us. There's elections, because election equipment is so specialized. You know, we manufacture ourselves. Well, through a contract manufacturer that's based in Texas. But it's a longer lead time because we're not just pulling parts off the shelf. And so that's why we have this conversation now about something 6 to 8 months, because it takes 4 months to build it, and the certification process and then the planning process from an election standpoint. Because you want to know before, probably before you get to October, November this year, if you're going to make a transition, because there's a process from a change perspective for Lauren and her folks to be able to make that change and be able to do training. You'll want to be forward to training early in 2015 and those kind of things before that first election.
It's basically business economics. You gotta have orders for the assembly line to get it moving.
Right. Yes, sir.
Young County was to commit and sales were just skyrocketing.
Probably both.
Well, and I will say,
Like everybody waiting for it.
you know, I will say this, when Shirley was here and bought this equipment initially, Young County was very much on the cutting edge of electronic voting equipment. So, you know, kind of known for that, which is an exciting place to be. I've kind of looked at ES&S equipment, you know, at shows and that sort of thing. That's also the equipment that is currently impounded in another county and going through a whole bunch of.
This shall have to go through our bidding process.
I can tell you what other counties do, but and typically it does not. But I'm not.
How does it avoid?
Yeah, because it's really the sole source. Because we're the only ones that make it. We're actually the only ones that are building an electronic equipment. Most of our competitors are building more paper-centric type products, where you're going to scan paper through a scanner, but you're going to print ballots. And so, you know, lots of counties in the state of Texas buy it, and they do a sole source letter. That's the primary way that they do it, is do it with a sole source letter.
And an ES&S, from what I've seen and heard from others, is more expensive to begin with. So,
Well, I remember going through that process when we first went through there. We went through several different presentations at different places and looked at that equipment, put hands on it and used it.
Since that time, a lot of the
Made, but it wasn't necessarily the one I wanted at the time. It's just, you know, I kind of paid for a different product, but this has worked out real well.
Well,
Certainly you did good.
yeah.
We did that.
Shirley's point is that there are a lot fewer companies in this space now. I think people realize that after you know, the initial goodness of the federal government putting money into this market, that they realize that we don't really have a business strategy beyond selling. And so there are probably 15 companies in the market now. There's really 3 at this point. There's a 4th one that's a very small company. It is a tough market for a lot of the reasons. It just follows different business cycles, and you've got busy election years, and you've got followed by even number of years that are not as busy, and then developing these products is extremely expensive, and then the certification process is daunting and expensive as well.
It's just hard to spend $350,000 on a sole source vendor. Something good, the law says to do it.
I think it's something probably needs to be moved forward on, but what's the pleasure of the court on this? Is there any more questions or?
Appreciate your candidate warranty.
Yeah, anytime, I'm happy to do it. And I think one of the things that Hart's reputation, we have about half of the state of Texas. We have Harris County, Tarrant County, Fort Bend County, so in total about half the state. Our reputation is really about customer service and support. And I think I encourage you, you've experienced it for a decade, and hopefully that experience has been good throughout. And I think that's what we're known for, particularly contrasting with our major competitor, which is ES&S.
Your machine's responsible for telling a good portion of the vote tax, right?
Yes, sir. Well, I mean, what you can count on us is we'll be candid. We're gonna do the best we can for service from, now. We've been in business for 2012 was our 100th year. And so, based here in Texas and Austin. And, if I need to come back and answer further questions, I will absolutely come back here and answer whatever questions and have any discussion with you that I need to.
You're hoping this price for June 30th?
Yes, sir. And really that's driven by, so one of the things that I'll again, the spirit of transparency, so one of the things is going through the certification process is we already know some of our costs are increased. And so we're holding this price because we already know, to your point, is there credibility in this price increase? Well, we know that some of it is because we know there are already a few items, just as an example. So some of the software side, the computing horsepower required is greater than we anticipated initially. So we priced it and we priced this and we discovered that we made a mistake. So we're holding that price on this. And then the other bit is the fact that we're going to offer the extended warranty because you are buying extremely early. Not because we anticipate any issues, but because it's really an incentive for you to go early and to be a partner with us on that. And then the bigger piece is on the buyback and our ability to forecast buybacks and be able to extend that buyback to you.
I'm not ready to spend $320,000.
And part of the table.
Table or move it.
Further consideration.
We got till June, so.
I know, I don't know what to do.
I'm with you. I want to hear what my taxpayer has to say about this. A little bit, before we just jump into
If Chief Tappan failed, something.
Exactly.
Well, we can work with Lauren to get the specificity on what's really about what that incremental cost is.
Right.
And
That's what we need to know.
And then that's why we built this view to try and understand. Look, there's no argument, and I think that's an important point. I'm not going to be presumptuous to say that. I don't believe there's any argument to be made to say, look, over the next 10 years, we're never going to buy a new election system. It's well, do I want to spend $350,000? Nobody does, right? But I think it's a matter of whether you spend it now or whether you spend it next year, or whether you spend it maybe the year after that. And so that's the, as a taxpayer in a county, I don't want you to spend any money either.
We're hitting it on the head. The next year after that, things may be calmer. It may be easier to do things.
But right now.
But are your taxpayers gonna be upset if they see that you could have saved $135?
Yeah, we'll probably will.
Okay, well, I appreciate your time and your consideration.
All in favor of that table to, you have a specific date?
No, I do not.
Excuse me?
I do not have a
Does not have a
specific.
specific date.
Okay. What's the first budget meeting?
Oh, we'll be, probably the last part of May.
That's probably.
We'll have a budget calendar to present to you. Probably,
That'd be a good time to bring it back up.
would do it the first meeting in May, but I think we're probably gonna
I'm not
change
here to another end of the table.
it. Excuse me?
I'm not here to another end of the table.
We're gonna change that meeting on the first and last.
That's up to y'all.
That'd be nice.
On the May 12th,
Except,
that Tuesday?
I think, sir, they got a suggestion she would like to take a week before.
May the 5th.
Well, I don't care, really, it'd be better for me if we didn't have it on there. I mean, you wanna talk about that now?
We can't, we got a motion.
We have a motion necessary.
This day, table to a later date.
Okay, we'll make it a later date.
I second.
Mr. Sykes got a motion, with a second, to take the issue of elections.
That will go away.
Thank you for your time.
Until a later date.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All in favor?
That's, the 12,000 is not the.
What's that?
It's just an extra discount for the money. Everything goes away.
I'm gonna say no. So I'll make a move on it.
He doesn't want to take one. You can use your card back there.
Yeah. I said another round.
But yeah, everything's like, at 2:30.
Minutes after 11. This is 14:28. Waive our next item, and item number 12. Discuss, consider road crossing permits. I should email these to all of y'all. Did y'all make contact with the fire company?
Looked at the location, looked at the permit, I have no problem with any of the permit.
I have no problem.
I want to set that precinct forward, right there.
Rose Hill.
Yeah.
Sure.
Goes.
It's on the north side of the road,
Kind of boundary line.
it is a boundary line now. Which side of the road is it going on? Across?
It's crossing the road. But it is going to the north road, it's okay with me.
Or say, it is going to the north.
Why the chicken cross, why the water line cross the road?
I'll second his
Need to go
motion.
outside.
To get to the other side.
I'll second his motion.
Yeah.
Since it's hard.
We have a motion by Mr. Sykes, second by Mr. Pruitt, to approve road crossing permits as presented. I believe that's 4 of them. Fort Belknap Water Supply. All in favor? Carried. I think we do have the money already here. Okay. Item number 13. Consider window replacement bid for caretaker house at Fort Belknap.
Kind of obvious. Who we need to go with there? It's gonna be.
Yeah, and you know, they are a window company out of Wichita Falls. The last one she got, they,
Okay, that answers some questions
Yeah.
there.
so I mean, it's a great bid. That last one we got, that 5,000, that's Monty Johnson Company. They've done a lot of different construction work, even with basic and they do kind of a little bit of everything, not just windows. But,
Norco manufactures their own things.
So they're installing their own window.
Norco builds their own things.
Yeah, that's
quite much more cheaper. And they do have, a little over $5,000 in their 350 line in their budget.
And it says in there, they don't shave. Replace windows,
it does.
but what about the, vinyl siding around the windows that you don't have to disturb?
Well, it's got up here, it's got a line.
Trim cost,
Oh, it does say vinyl frame right there on the top. Vinyl frame.
I don't know if that means windows or vinyl frame.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Labor and materials.
I'm sure you think that's reputable company, it's just installed and put back on siding. There, right there.
Just gotta make sure the insured bonded and everything on file.
So once they're insured and bonded, as Commissioner Ryder says, I agree with that. And I move that we accept that bid. Let them start work.
I'll say.
Okay, are you gonna talk about that as pursuant bond or insurance.
Yeah, that's what, right, yeah. As long as they have it.
We have a motion by Commissioner Pruitt, second by Commissioner Rogers to accept the bid of Norco Manufacturing and Supply Company at $3,706.80 for the replacement of windows in Fort Bell Allen. Caretakers residence pursuant to bond or insurance.
I'll get a copy
Sure.
of those for my office.
All in favor?
It shows here, somebody needs to sign that acceptance of proposal back into that number. It says here you need to sign it and fax the proposal to that number, back number.
Would that Matt decide to be given charge of Fort Bell that day?
You should. I would say the county judge.
Yep.
I love
Sounds
it, he puts his signature on things.
Like his signature.
Okay, item 14, discuss, consider net data online custody, Eric Step.
Gentlemen, good morning. What I have for you is pretty quick and simple. We spoke with NetData. We went to the conference last week, learned quite a few things. We spoke with Matt. Matt had pitched it before for us. This is online custody, allowing our jail list to be published online for the public to see as public knowledge, or excuse me, public record. So what this would do is allow for those to be published online along with mugshots. This will also come with a card reader that will allow when somebody comes in or is booked in, their driver's license will be scanned and it automatically populates their information in the required spaces. I spoke with Marsha earlier this morning. She said this would greatly remove the human error of spelling a name wrong or having an alias. So when we have issues with PID and there being multiple PID numbers for the same person, then we actually have to go through and do a cleanup, and it's quite an extensive process that you try not to get into. So this would help remedy the problem we have now with human error.
Is there any cost associated with this?
It's $1,500. I haven't got the formal quote from Paula Keene, but Matt's quoted that. They quoted me at a conference as well, so I'll make sure that we get that formal quote.
How long has this been around? We haven't had it.
We've had this has actually been around for quite some time. As we're growing and we're seeing more people come through the jail, more people visit the jail. This would be a great help, especially for the jailers who may or may not possess the greatest typing skills, or we have quite a few names that are coming through that are difficult to pronounce and type, and so all it takes is one.
Is this gonna be like one of the big counties have, where they have their jail population? You can go to it online and it shows when they got into jail.
Yes.
And what their charges are that are.
It will show all of the public record for their booking process. It will also show a list of who's been in jail prior, as far as, you can pull a jail list or jail custody list of, say, last year on March of 2013. You can pull those and see who was in jail at that time.
For history, I'm more interested in an individual's criminal record.
Right.
And because I look at those when I get a new case from somebody, well, I want to know what their previous record was.
Right. And this will contain that.
What kind of offer to take to them, to deal with them, how to deal with them.
Right.
And, but it's also good where we have somebody and to know if they're in jail, we can always go and print a list of everybody that's in there, but it'd be real nice to be able to just go to an individual and see if that individual is in jail. And what charges he has, especially if he has felony charges that don't otherwise show up.
Right.
Why have
It's
access to.
1,500, doesn't matter what side of the county.
That's correct. It's already built into the software for
from my understanding, the $1,500 is just a back-end setup to make sure that it's published online, kind of like what the DA did with online discovery for their evidence and things of that nature. This is just, it's a one-time fee, it'll be, never have to be paid again, and it'll be an added benefit and feature until we, I guess, assumingly stop using that data.
It's a no-brainer. It's cheap.
It is, and they were throwing the card reader down, and that was
Right.
the price of the card readers, but also wasn't it also visitors, they were gonna scan their license?
It removes the human error for people coming through. You have to present a driver's license when you come visit someone in jail, so it'll remove the logging errors and things of that nature.
Don't show the public who visitors were
No.
No.
No, it won't show
No, I
visitor.
didn't think so.
No, the visitor record is not public. Just the custody will be what's published online.
It'll say Joe Blow and the rest of TWI on this.
Right. And from my understanding, it should show priors as well.
We make a motion that already.
What's it?
We don't have that already.
It's not available online. It's available.
Your motion.
And I would suggest we pay the part on jail development, which we have.
$7,976.
I make a motion, we take it, but I don't know.
It's a firm 1,500.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Wiley, and second by Commissioner Pruitt to, enter into the net data online custody provision for inmate services, if you will.
Sure.
And to expend that from the general development fund. All in favor?
Yeah.
I vote.
Yeah.
Okay. Discuss accident policy for Young County, Madam Pruitt, number 2.
I think I'm probably just gonna have to table this until I get further information. From some of the information I gathered, what I'm looking for, we can't do.
Okay.
Have you heard that too? You know what I'm talking about? We'll talk about it.
Yeah, kind of.
So I'm just gonna table this until I get a little bit more information. I'll tell you.
Table for further review.
I was right now, from what I've looked at, I think you can put an elected official on as having to have any kind of testing if there is an accident involved.
We're not subject to testing.
No.
No, they're both.
I know, ain't that crazy?
Why would you be on the same or higher standards than anyone?
I'm with you.
And even if
I'm
you
with
did, it came back positive, something they can do. You can not do anything, we can't do anything to an elected official.
All in all, it's just a new brick in the wall.
Good stuff. No.
Politicians.
Yes.
But there ain't none that's needed.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll address that at whatever time that you think.
I mean, I don't want to do this table or just take it off.
Well,
Because there's nothing you can do, there's nothing you can do. Unless we just bring it up at a later time, if we need it. Otherwise.
Policy of the county.
No. I know,
By state statute.
I think we should be.
They cover county residents. The only thing different in that is through the section that we have in our drug and alcohol policy is minute, it's 2 pages, right to the point, don't have a meeting, you know. And I looked at another one from Jefferson County, and it's 8 pages long, and it's very explicit about different definitions and points and everything else, but, you know, it's just whatever the court decides on. At some point, everyone will revisit that, revise it or whatever. To what Matt's talking about, there's no recourse.
I think that's crazy. I think over split up the same level as everybody else.
Here's where the
Ryan's gonna feel
here's where the difference is though. And where it falls out of the hands of that one we're talking about is because if you have a CDL license, then it doesn't make any difference.
Right. because of DOT rules forfeits everything else.
But, you have to then, or if you're in an automobile accident, more than likely you're gonna have to have.
Where there's a fatality happen.
Right. Now, I'm saying if I'm out there with a chainsaw and I'm high on cocaine and I chop my foot off, you know, where does it go from there? Huh?
You're gonna leave it.
We're not hot egg.
But out of the county to a conference and have one too many and have an accident on the way home, there's nothing that they can do about it.
No, because you're in your own personal vehicle.
No, I'm talking about county.
Even so,
Can't be held.
Not elected officials.
not elected officials.
Well, the county can be held, though.
There'd be criminal, I mean, you
Yes.
might have criminal
Individually.
charges, but sticky situation.
One North Plainfield,
It's very itchy.
I don't like it.
I think we have been able to do one time, wow.
Years ago,
Yes.
but he died, so.
I don't know.
It too was ahead of them.
Were you on the board then?
That was just, that was.
That's 25 years ago. That's 25 years ago. I know exactly what day it was. It happened on a Saturday.
I can see that now.
what would be the odds of getting that statute changed?
Okay, take no action on that, and the table for further review.
Or just brought back it up at a later date?
I'll make that, you make that motion.
Yeah.
Take it till a later date.
Yeah.
Second.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Okay. Item number 16, discuss and consider county subdivision rules, regulations, Mr. Sykes.
You know, thank you very much for the communication that you sent me about the EKJ with the city. I thought maybe that might be the answer to that tender review situation. The extraterritorial jurisdiction for the city of Graham would be at 1 mile, and that's a mile and a half out to Timber Ridge. So that may or may not be circumstances.
Different populations, different segments of population there, and I know that the,
25 to 10,000 was 1 mile for population. At least that's what the public government code.
and from our, from Lincoln, it's more than a mile.
Now maybe it's more, because I'm exactly from Timber Ridge Road to the city limit sign was a mile and a half.
Timber View, not gonna be that far.
Timber Ridge would be further.
Yeah.
It depends on how you measure from, I don't know how the city limit gerrymanders out through that area and what it certainly could be. And ETJ may be exactly the reason why that was done that way.
They did, city does furnish water out there. And, they did take, I believe they did take action on those subdivisions.
Well, that does help, if that's the case, that does help answer the reason why there's nothing to the county on that timber review situation.
Because that's the same thing we run into going out to the north on 16. And everything on the left-hand side of the road was in the city limits, and everything on the right-hand side of the road was out of the city limits. So basically what's going on here is the city furnishes water to them. They're not furnishing sewer. Well, everything out to that point on the right-hand side is going to be inside the city limits, per se.
The city, the municipality will have jurisdiction over that county property across the road. Because it's in their ETJ.
At least a mile. And then that comes to like 2 miles, up to 5 miles.
Up to 5.
Yeah. In big cities.
Well, anyway, that kind of helps explain that. I need to find out just exactly how the gerrymandering has measured. Well, I measured the road miles simply with my odometer, so. But looking at the state local government code on the subdivision ordinances that we've got versus what's in the code, I see not any variances much at all, if any, over so much as what I've studied. So I think that having gone over those subdivision rules and regulations, I'm satisfied that we're in complete compliance with the state's local government code and that we have not anything in there that we could be responsible for allowing as exclusions or exceptions. In there, it's stipulated pretty clearly.
I got to think about that, about when we did that. I think we originally adopted a set in 2003, I believe. And,
We revised it in 07.
you know, we revised it in 07, sometime between there, maybe with the original adoption. We got all these gathered up. Judge Peavy gathered all these up. There was one Bear County, one from Austin County, one from Bandera County, one from Clay County, one from Cook County. And
But you can't tell much difference in any of them.
probably not, no. Bear County, of course, is great big, so it's a little bigger.
Let me add a little flavor.
We turned these over to some of the developers here, and best I recall, we made kind of a little committee of some sort. And asked them to review those and make any suggested changes in the ones we have here compared to anything else. I'm not sure if they came back with some suggested revisions or not, but whatever that was, they reviewed that. And
Well, primary questions that we were asked by the Walmart's that development they're proposing out on Midas Road was why on some of these things. And the only answer I've given them about the why now, that it's in the local government code stipulates that it needs to be there. Including those bonding issues.
State mandate.
State mandate. I have no idea what was going through the legislator's mind when they put that in there, but, you know, we're all free to ask.
You know, I imagine at some point, it's just like anything, other statute, they've come across something in the past that caused them to have to do something to that magnitude.
Sure.
And,
a lot of it started down on the border with those colonials, things like that.
A lot of time around El Paso,
Popped up everywhere.
So I see no reason that we should, at this time, take on a wholesale rewrite or revision of our subdivision ordinance.
I went through it, and there's a few things. I think they were concerned quite a bit about the engineering work, drain, drainage, things like that. But,
I think that's what causes most of the problems down the road.
yeah.
Is the drainage problem.
that's as much as their benefit as it is for people that's buying it. You know, and that's
Once we
why,
sign off on those, I'm sure we're accepting that it's correct and done properly, and that the contractor too.
but you know, that's got that engineer seal on it, and that right there certified it, that makes it that much viable.
Anyway, that's a result of what I looked into this.
Did Walmart's, did they review this?
They did.
Did they?
They had sat in front of me with lots of circles and arrows and paragraphs on it, and what they discussed it. I think they're just looking at total cost of development. And I understand that. But we're restricted as a governing body of Young County and an extension of the state of Texas to abide by the laws and regulations of the state of Texas. You can't do anything without legislative change. So if they want to change something we've got in our, we won't have to call Mr. Springer or whoever, go down to Austin and try to change that. And I'm not here to say that there's not some things that may need to be changed legislatively, but we can't change anything at this time.
No. We're already in stone.
Any action, no action?
No action.
Okay, no action. Item number 17.
This is important right here.
Discussion with the Commissioners Court meeting on May the 12th to a different day. We do a conference. A long way away. Now, you got y'all can drive down, you can take off here.
And we will.
Get there. Get exactly right.
Yeah, we could.
As we're going through Houston at 5 o'clock.
That was the first time. used to when I was first elected as commissioner.
Yeah.
in Austin.
You probably did.
You were there.
I didn't want to have to do that, but I'm thinking my wife with me, if we do that conference will be longer than necessary.
I don't have any problem moving it to, you got that couple weeks?
Well, what I did, like the 5th is on Monday, the only thing is like to do payables, we can't roll our month to start putting them in until that first day of the month in the computer, and that would only give me, I think it's a Thursday and Friday is the first and second or something, right? And then that'd only give 2 days, and then we're not gonna have court again until the 27th, I think, on the Tuesday after the holidays. Would y'all consider Thursday?
We may just,
The 8th?
26th is a holiday.
we may just cancel that meeting and call one for the 17th. Be off all day.
I'll be gone all week. My conference is Monday through Friday of that week too.
From the 12th through the Friday.
Yes, sir. So the 8th would work good. We'd have several days to get several days worth of bills in. And Larry's gonna come back with his stuff today.
That'd be like the 19th.
No, she said no.
Yeah, can we move it
How
to
about May
the week before is fine. But what did you have on Thursday then?
We did it on Thursday. We got 2 houses that way.
Let's do the 8th of May.
Is that okay with you, Jen?
Excuse me?
May the 8th.
The Thursday, and that way we can get several days, nearly a week's worth of.
Mr. Sable being asked back to the.
I'll be here. I've got a meeting.
1:30 on the 8th.
Is that open? Okay, so
1:30, okay.
okay, we got a motion. Mr. Wiley. You want to second that?
I will, sir.
What about the 27th?
The day of the holiday.
Memorial Day.
Yeah, I think that's fine. We'll have our bills in on Friday before.
Does it not just go to the next?
Our meeting on Tuesday on the
Got your meeting on Tuesday, that'll be the 27th.
It just makes it automatically the Tuesday, doesn't it? Don't need to change it.
That's what I got.
That's what it's scheduled.
Yeah, it's already on.
It's already
Don't
over.
forget, you should. May 8th at 1:30.
Yeah, but that time.
That's right. The time's up.
Okay, we've got a motion from Commissioner Wiley and a second from Commissioner Sykes to reschedule our May the 12th meeting to May the 8th, 1:30 in the afternoon. All in favor? Okay,
I see no further restrictions being required at this moment.
no action?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Still no birthday.
I'll say.
Wait, oh, you gotta go back.
Oh, yeah, that's nice, that's why.
And I believe this one's